Today's episode of Still Untitled is brought to you by Blue Apron. For less than $10 a meal, Blue Apron delivers seasonal recipes along with pre-portioned ingredients to make delicious home-cooked meals. Some of the meals available this month include crispy chicken with warm Brussels sprouts, celery, and potato salad, or you can get roast pork steam buns with black garlic mayonnaise and spicy cabbage slaw, or seared salmon and fall vegetable hash with apple brown butter dressing. Check out the week's menu and get your first 3 meals free with free shipping by going to blueapron.com/untitled. You'll love how good it feels and tastes to create incredible home-cooked meals with Blue Apron, so don't wait. That's blueapron.com/untitled. Now on with the show.
Welcome to Still Untitled, the Adam Savage Project. I'm Will.
I'm Adam.
And I'm Norm.
We were talking just before, and we decided to stop talking. You were saying...
I said I read a very good piece of advice as someone who frequently mispronounces things, that you should never mock people for mispronouncing words because it means that they're reading above the level of the conversational peer group that they're normally a part of.
Probably said by someone who mispronounces words a lot.
Almost certainly.
Look, I mispronounce words all the time because forever I have read them and not heard them pronounced. So I made the classic mistake of thinking minutia was minute.
Oh, yeah. I mean, in a sane language, that is how you would pronounce that word.
Completely. I read most of The Hobbit thinking I was reading The Adventures of Bilbo Baggins because I was slightly dyslexic.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, character, especially. Yeah. It's a
when
strange thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
And what is the other one? Oh, bruschetta.
Bruschetta.
Bruschetta is the way people mispronounce it. Bruschetta is the correct
Really?
pronunciation.
Well, there you go.
That's an Anglo versus Italian thing, right? So, like, if you read,
yes.
like, there's the Anglicization. Anyway, yeah.
Right, which is totally valid, too, because it's language and we're communicating. I find I get upset when people are hard to correct. Like someone said to me, have you seen this new movie, Synecdoche, New York? And I said...
Oh, yeah, Synecdoche.
And I said, I made the same thing. I had to look it up because I didn't get the joke. And then I realized Synecdoche, New York, Schenectady, New York. I get it. And I said, it's actually Synecdoche. And
as you were saying it, did you?
No, I got it right, but they didn't take it well. This is a kind of person who doesn't like being corrected. And that is always really difficult. So both a corrector and correctee be, but just be gentle about it. You shouldn't. Why make fun of people for...
Hey, man. This is how, you might not know this. I just found it out recently.
And also pick your battles. Choose your moment.
Yeah.
Right? Like you're going to do it to someone on a first date when you're a third wheel. Don't do that. And who brings a third wheel out on a first date
They're
anyway?
the worst.
So is this speaking from personal experience, Adam?
No, all of a sudden I turned into Jerry Seinfeld. What's the deal with dating?
What about rental cars? I also had a good piece of advice from another podcast I listened to, which is Unattended Consequences. The Pat Rothfuss, Max Temkin thing. Yeah. And they talked about actually on one of the first episodes of this season.
You know, that was one of the first comments I made a mistake of reading. Go ahead.
Never, ever, ever, ever. Basically, anytime you start a sentence with actually, you're probably going to be a dick.
Yeah.
That's the short version of the story.
Ben Ackert said that Neil deGrasse Tyson is the physical embodiment of the word actually.
Right. And what you were referencing to, Adam, earlier was one of the first comments you read that now stuck in your head is that people said you kept on using the word actually. And not intending to be a dick, it's just...
I'm not intending to be a dick. It was the complaint that I said it too much on Mythbusters. And it's true. I did.
Or you were cut to say it too much.
Yeah. Look, when I'm coming up with a way to say something, I'm trying to reach a rhythm. I'm trying to get to a point. I choose all sorts of filler words to get my way there. I have a poetic bend. I want to get something right out of it. And actually shows up as one of those... Look, there's a bunch of words that are the words you say when you're thinking about the next thing to say. I'm one of those people who visualizes what they're about to say. So I think in paragraphs and I scroll to the next one and I use some filler words to get there.
Mm-hmm. Actually,
in the last tour, did I talk about this? On the last tour with Jamie, the very last tour with Jamie, the opening night, which was in New Orleans, which was my first time in that lovely city.
You mean... Actually, I think it's pronounced Nolans.
New Orleans. And I got to the end of the show and Jamie and I have a closing monologue, and it was I know the show really well because I wrote it, so I know it. And I got to the ending monologue, and I looked at Jamie, and I realized, I don't have this in my head.
Oh no!
Have I talked about this?
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
podcast?
yeah. No, I remember. Yeah, no, you can. Yeah. And
I don't think you talked about it on the podcast.
No, we did.
Oh, we did. Okay.
But how did you come?
I scrolled,
Yeah.
and I'm like, wow, there's nothing here. The whole monologue's missing. So I just started talking because I knew roughly the area I'm going to be talking about. And then as I started talking, I realized, oh, this is the path to go down. And then I threw Jamie one of his cue lines, and he looks at me with horror because, like, I rarely see this expression on his face, but he's like, I have no idea what you just did, and I don't know what to do from here.
Oh no!
So I gave him his first line, and then he was home free. Like, you give him a marker, and he knows precisely where he is.
Well, that always helps when you're in that situation.
It's how brains work.
Yeah.
It's just like you have these words, these verbal tics, whatever you want to call them, to help you get to your thought. Everyone performs differently on camera or in conversation, and it's not a bad thing to go and review, yourself on camera, I think, and think about how you say words. I think just like how when you're talking with someone, you mimic, right?
Mm-hmm. That's something
their accent,
you pick up their cadence.
And not only that, but you pick up, I think, some of the phrases they use.
You used to be really, really bad about that when you were doing interviews. It was
all the time, and there are words I know that
at the end of interviewing someone from New Orleans, he'd be like, "Oh, Cher."
Yeah. He sounds like Gambit, basically.
Zelig is a very powerful force.
So that used to be my biggest fear on stage. I'm standing up there, and all of a sudden I have no idea what to do, and then. At Maker Faire this year, my confidence monitor didn't work. So I had like a 45-minute talk that I had to pull from memory, which was exciting.
Yeah.
And then at XO a few weeks ago when we did the Foo Show live on stage, and I'm standing on a stage with a bunch of goggles on.
Right.
Yep.
So I can't see where the stage is. As soon as we teleport around a little bit, you can't remember where the actual people even are.
Yeah.
And about 3/4 of the way through this 40-minute talk, I'm sitting there, I'm thinking, what if I take off the goggles and everybody's left? Right? Like, what's the worst thing that can happen?
My fly is down. That's where I was going to go.
Right.
I would be fine having no pants at all on,
right,
as long as there's still asses in the seats when I take the goggles off. Like, I think public nudity is way, way, way less bad than 800 people were bored and left.
What if the thing they're laughing at isn't the things I'm saying?
Oh God! Well, that was definitely the case.
So I had the same thing happen to me as happened with you at Maker Faire at the Rally to Restore Sanity and or Fear. Jamie
the one that you did in 2012.
Yeah, Jamie and I were the opening act for Stephen and John.
Wow.
They asked us to do 20 minutes as a warm up to the crowd. We did a couple of experiments, and I'm looking at 250,000 people.
Wow.
Is it an incomprehensible? Like,
it's incomprehensible.
Yeah.
We did a wave that started at the front and took something like 65 seconds to reach the back of the mall, a mile away, and back to the stage.
And you were at the Washington Memorial or the Lincoln Memorial?
Yeah. Your guess is as good as mine.
Were you looking at the big pillar, or were you?
I honestly
you don't
can't remember. Because I walked out on stage to perform for 250,000 people.
Yeah, as
and
one
the
does.
teleprompter didn't work. But again, I'd written the piece. Jamie and I had rehearsed it, but I'd written it, so I knew it. And Jamie is, he's, despite his best efforts as not liking performance, he's a veteran. He was able to realize, oh, this is happening. And every time I threw him a thing, he knew what to do with it, and it went great.
Oh, it reminds me of the great Michael Bay fiasco at CES.
Oh, that was so good.
So did he just walk off?
He just walked off. Samsung hired him to sell some TVs, and he walked on stage and I was sitting middle, almost front row.
Yeah.
I thought it was part of it. I thought he was walking off to introduce Optimus Prime or something. And then he said, I got to go.
It seemed like a bit.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was so weird.
Yeah. He just
walked on, and then they're like, live presentation, everyone.
But there were the teleprompters broke for that one, right?
They mis-scrolled the teleprompter and went too fast.
Oh, and that's all? He didn't just say, hey, could you scroll back a little bit?
No, I just went, I got to go, and turned around left, walked off the stage.
He was pretty obviously uncomfortable. It became clear that he maybe doesn't like standing in front of crowds and talking to people.
No, but look, a lot of people don't.
It's a normal. It's what the most
having an audience.
There's another Seinfeld joke. More people are afraid of talking in front of a crowd of people, speaking at the funeral, and being in it.
It's why we do it with it in front of the camera and not actual real people. And even an audience of one can be stressful.
Oh, totally. So one of the things you said is about watching yourself on camera. People ask me, what is it like? Because it's awful to watch yourself on camera. Does it get better?
You see everything, every mistake that you make.
You do, but you do get better at being able to witness what you do on camera, and you get to see your proclivities and you get to adjust them. And at a certain point, I promise you, if you're interested in a career in communication, there is a point at which you actually separate from that character. And you understand, you guys have both gone through it. You see, oh, right, this is the Norm that's on camera. This is the Will that's on camera. And I've gotten so much out of understanding things like, don't touch your face on camera. It looks like you have scabies.
Always. Oh, you told us that. You told us that maybe the second week we were over here.
It
is, I literally just touched my eyes. You're like, don't touch your face. I was like, I can't pull back now.
It's why I touch my glasses.
Right, right.
It fulfills that itch.
It is. What is it? Yeah, I put my glasses up like this. Yeah, I don't know. And my TED talk that I did back in January, that was one where I listened to myself, and that gave me that last bit of understanding of where I was potentially overselling it. That's my proclivity.
Getting the cadence, getting the cadence and the rhythm right is the difference between something that people enjoy and is good, and people are like, "Wow, that was an amazing talk."
And everyone lives in their own reality distortion field. How you perceive yourself, completely different. But I was going to say, even an audience of one can be stressful. And yesterday, you did something without an audience, and to huge success. You fixed my camera lens.
What?
So Norm got a brand new camera,
and I was walking into the cave
from
I turned a corner and I caught my hand on something, and the whole camera fell on the ground with the lens. The 5D Mark IV.
Oh no!
The camera's okay, but the $2,000 lens that was attached to it, picked it up. Okay, camera's okay. Look at the lens. No, spider webs. Whoa, spider living in there.
But it's the.
It was a refraction. The lens just got out of whack.
No, it's the filter.
The filter.
There was a filter on
shattered.
the front. Yes, the filter completely shattered. But the way those lenses are designed and how close the filters are, I couldn't tell if the filter or the lens was actually broken. So very, very stressful.
Is this your lens?
Yes.
The 2480?
2470.
2470.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And so,
he was very stressed.
Sad.
You know what stress Norm looks like?
Oh,
yep.
Yeah.
Everyone
it looks just like this, actually.
No, he gets very gentle, I notice.
I know. I'm going through the. I go through the 12 stages real quickly. I just go right to the end.
So it is. I was thinking about this. We'll continue talking about this, but it is all on Joey's time lapse, and we should do a separate intro and then show the time lapse.
Yeah. So this is. Well, explain what happened.
Describe the problem.
Right. So the filter to inspect the lens, you need to remove the filter because it fell on the filter.
It fell right on the edge.
Oh, and it bent it so the threads.
Bent it so the threads are stuck. It was almost impossible to twist it off.
Man.
No
Both
one
of us
could do
have
it.
tried past the point of you're like, I'm gonna hurt something.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And so Norm, it was sitting on Norm's desk.
Yeah, and then I went to a video shoot, and when we came back,
did you try even like getting a pair of pliers and wrenching it like
yeah
okay
and
tried
so
everything.
The process that Adam went to fix it, he told me after the fact because it may have been too stressful for me to watch him do it.
It would have been too stressful for him to watch, and that would have been stressful for me to problem solve.
Yeah,
which would have maybe.
And Norm and I both said the same thing, which was like, damn it, it was a great piece of content. But I also said to him, I'm not sure I would have come up with this solution this fast with you and Joey in the room, with you stressing out and Joey filming me.
Do we want to explain the solution? Let's
I think we should. Yeah.
So what I did was I grabbed the filter only gives you about 0.5 centimeter of grip.
Yeah.
And so I grabbed a chain clamp, which is an adjustable clamp for oil filters.
It's also what you use for like opening jar lids that are tight.
I tried a chain clamp and that didn't work.
Really?
Yeah, no, I couldn't get enough purchase on it. I didn't want to damage the edge of Norm's lens by over scraping. So then I actually have a pair of channel locks.
You know what my dad says about channel locks?
What?
Oh no, he says it about vice grips.
They're edge rounders.
A farmhand with 15 minutes and a pair of vice grips can do it easily $5,000 a minute of damage.
Oh yeah, totally. So I have channel locks that are very funny. I had sent a runner out to go get something, and he was like, I'm at $80 and they have $100 minimum at this store I'm at. And I was like, just get me the largest pair of vice grips they have. And they brought me back this pair of vice.
Oh my God.
This pair of channel locks that is like 2.5 feet long.
Wow.
But they'll grip
Comical.
like something like 8 inches in diameter.
It's like pipe wrench size.
Yeah. So I used those, and I couldn't do it. Finally, I took the lens and I took it over to my bandsaw.
I was gonna say, okay.
Well, you popped it, broke all the glass.
So I turned it upside down, and with a tiny little hammer, I tapped until one piece of glass came out, and then I used some jeweler's pliers to pull all the rest of the glass out in order to be able to determine that Norm's the actual lens completely undamaged and perfect.
This is why you have the filter. At that point, the filter ate the shock.
Usable.
Yes,
great.
Yeah.
But
still
now
want to get rid of the
filter.
filter.
Still get this edge off. And I was thinking that maybe the glass had wedged, right, and misshapen it, so pulling out the glass might make it easier. Totally didn't. No. I tried all the same things again. So then finally,
and at this point, it's aluminum, right? It's not flexible enough.
Brass.
Oh, it's brass, so it's really rigid.
Yeah,
and you can't just squeeze it in, and pull it out.
It's hard brass too, as I determined when I took it to the bandsaw and I cut a notch out of either side. No, just
so, you fed it into the bandsaw like this.
At the point where at this point functionally the lens would have been already okay to use. No new filters could be screwed on it. But at that point, I'm like, wait, just we can use this lens already.
Here's if you could watch it real time. Here's what I did. I took the lens.
Did you think about this beforehand?
Oh, yeah, of course I did. Okay. So understand that the bandsaw is up and down, and I didn't feed the lens in like this. I fed it in like this.
That's a lot better.
So I'm away from the glass, and all I did was cut a notch out of 180 degrees opposite sides of the filter.
Okay.
And then, so now I had a little notch, and it operates like the back of a watch, right?
Right.
So I then took a piece of aluminum stock, chucked it into my vise with just an 1/8 inch protruding, socked the notch onto that piece of aluminum, and with both hands grabbed the lens and was able to twist it off.
Wow.
But it took all my strength with both hands to do it. No other method would have done it. And as I approached the bandsaw with the lens, I did one of these. I'm like, okay, I'm going to cut it out. Hold on a second. Let's just make sure. Because my body was responding like I was standing on the edge of a building. My body was responding to the adrenaline of bandsaw meeting $1,000 lens.
Oh, you just wanted to feel alive.
So I those moments when you have the thing that is precious to someone. We were at a meeting one time and Margie poured water in her laptop.
Yeah.
And I said, I can fix this. Took the MacBook Air apart, pulled the motherboard out, dried everything off, put it back in. Everything was fine.
Right.
But I did it while we were sitting talking.
It's terrifying for a civilian to watch.
So she was mortified. And I was like, I've done this 50 times, right? This is no problem. That is a completely different thing.
Yeah, no.
Like that's a completely different...
Because that's an unconventional problem solving that you're doing. You're thinking as you're doing it.
Now, the thing I'm looking forward to is the people in the comments that do camera repair who've undoubtedly encountered this problem before. Like, oh yeah, you just got to get the 9x12 RAS mosquito to whip that bad boy out and it'll pop right out.
And it turns out, even if the front element, that front top layer of glass was shattered, that's the cheapest part to replace.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
And I will submit, actually, that the bandsaw, for a brute force way to cut that notch, and people might say, why didn't you use a Dremel? You have more control. No, actually, the bandsaw gives me both hands on the lens and the blade isn't moving. Dremel, my whole life with Dremels is spent doing this and having to rebuild something from scratch.
Well, I guess anyway. Thanks, Dremel, for but it is the problem. Like when I got one of those pen, the flexible shaft attachments, you can hold it like a pen.
Yeah,
it completely changed, or a small Dremel that you can use. That you have a different kind of control. Anyway,
depends what material you're going into, right?
Yeah.
So you were a really good sport about it, but I was glad that you weren't there to witness me.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Problem solving, because that stress really matters, right? Like I take that on because I'm an empathetic human, and it makes it more.
But I'm just glad that Joey had a camera there.
Did you try putting another filter in there?
Not yet. Yeah, I'm gonna buy
you might have to rethread it.
Yeah, well, if it works, it's great. As long as the lens still works.
One thing I did do was, with the old filter ring in there, I did take a tiny hammer and attempt to re-round it. So I did get it. That would be the best way to correct an aberration in the circularity of the actual 72 millimeter filter threads.
Right.
If you take it to your camera repair shop, they'll be able to fix it. Right? No problem.
Do those exist anymore?
Oh yeah, there are a couple in San Francisco. There are
is that big one on West Portal? Does that one still do camera
no,
repairs?
Action Camera's not. I don't think that they're there anymore.
The place out in Terval is still there.
That's Action Camera. Is it still there? Okay.
The one that we rented.
There's one on Haight. Yeah, there's
Wow.
They sell hipster cameras, so they still lots of business. Course. They have those Russian, the Lomas or whatever.
My son is taking black and white photography, and they're going to be developing in black room, dark room. Black room. It's been so long, I forgot the term for dark room.
I have a digital one now. It's on my laptop. I carry it with me everywhere. Can we talk about TV a little bit?
Absolutely.
Sure.
This is a terrible segue. I apologize.
No. I wanted to get to this too,
okay, so
you're going to bring up a show that I love.
Last night, Max Landis tweeted like 4 times in about 5 minutes about a show that I'd heard a lot about and was like, I should probably watch this. And then he gave me the kick when I was sitting there in my like post West Wing stupor. By the way, like end of season 3, start of season 4. Really, really good.
You're still watching?
I'm still going through.
Was that the Brothers in Arms in the church?
No, it's the bomb. It's the pipe bomb at the university.
Oh, okay.
It's the leading up to the. It's when they murdered. It's when they killed the guy on the Middle Eastern diplomat / terrorist funder. Anyway, it's super good. But I usually don't watch scripted TV shows after watching The West Wing because they're a little dull in comparison, mostly.
It's true. Walk with me.
But yeah, so yeah, when they cut from the shot of Lily Tomlin and then you see Toby and CJ walking down the hall, you're like, oh, okay, this is a pretty amazing show. But I watched Atlanta, which is Donald Glover's, I guess, newish thing on FX. I don't know how new it is.
It's very new. Okay. It's only like a month old. The episodes are still every week. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm still.
I think we're on episode 5 currently.
I watched the first 2 last night.
Yeah,
and it's one camera, which is it's a 30-minute or 23-minute, whatever, one camera kind of drama comedy. Just a story about this guy.
It's like Louis. It's filmmaking.
Yeah, it really is. It's very cinematic.
It's filmmaking. I mean, it's comedy, it's drama, it's the whole bit, but it's
scripted. It's scripted. It's really, really delightfully written. It is incredibly intense and poignant and funny, all in the space of like 30 seconds sometimes. And the first episode ends. I don't want to talk about plot at all.
Let's not talk about plot. But
Donald Glover, if you don't know, is Childish Gambino, and then also played Rich Parnell on The Martian.
He's on Community,
and he's on Community.
He's been in a million things.
Yeah,
he's a fantastic comedian, a terrific rapper. My kids love him.
Yeah.
And he's unbelievable in this show. I've been hiding my hyperbole because this show blew my freaking mind how amazing it was. The dip into a culture I know nothing about, putting me right in the middle of it. Fascinating characters, all of them really interesting, beautifully written, beautifully acted, gorgeously shot. It's incredible.
And to a point where you don't want to give any of the plot away because it's something to be watched and enjoyed.
It's like the thing about it isn't plot though. It's not a plot. I mean, the plot is, I'm sure the plot's going to be great over time. The thing that I love about it is the character interactions. There's this moment in the second episode where one of the main characters, there's actually they're kind of mirror images of the same moment. One is when he meets the rapper that the show is about, ostensibly, not Donald Glover, meets a kid, a couple of kids who are playing and emulating him. And he walks up to the mom as she's admonishing them for playing with guns and says, hey, I'm sorry, this is kind of my fault. And she's like, who the hell are you? And then they get into it and you watch that interaction flip as she realizes that he's the guy she was listening to on the radio on the way over there. And that there's this place where it's a place where radio plays still really important in a way that like you and I probably don't think of music as being about the radio anymore. And then the other side of that interaction is when he's interacting with an older man at a restaurant who is just like saying, look, you're the thing. Our hopes are on you, right? It's you're seeing like the amount of pressure on this guy who's literally, it's the second day his song's been played on the radio.
Right. So it's a version of himself he's playing.
This isn't Donald Glover.
Oh, no, okay.
No, Donald Glover
plays the cousin of a rapper named Paperboy.
Yeah, a burgeoning, up and coming rapper, I guess, is what you're saying.
And Glover is doing. I mean, He's always been terrific, right? He's always great in everything I've seen him in. He's exactly right. He's terrific, almost to the point of being doing so much exactly what you expect that you lose track of people like him and Aaron Eckhart, what good actors they are, because they're not drawing attention to themselves, they're just doing the scene. And Glover in his own show, he's a very interesting, conflicted character. He's a ne'er-do-well. He's trying to do right by his baby mama and his kid and his friends and his relatives and his parents. His relationship with his parents is totally fascinating.
Oh, yeah.
And the level of complexity going on in what you see in his face and in the interactions he's having is really compelling. It feels really...
Well, it's not the stereotype that you expect from that. From that
show. There's no, like, all expectations are off. It feels like watching Louis for the first time, right? Remember how, so Louis, to me, the first season didn't hit its stride. It's still freaking amazing. But the episode in the first season that made me catch my breath was The Bully. The first season of Louis.
Okay.
I think it's the 7th episode where he has a kind of a showdown with some kids in a diner that they threaten to beat him up, and he backs down, and his date sort of ditches him after that. Super complicated, really amazing episode. I felt watching Atlanta the same thing. Like oh, this is something really interesting and important.
I mean, it feels honest. Like, his performance is really honest, right? You see this very multifaceted character. He has a complex relationship with the mom of his daughter. He has a conflicted relationship with his daughter. You kind of anticipate him doing some sort of horrible... If it was a film, he would have made a horrible mistake already, right?
Yeah, totally. Well, because you got to get to the point in 20 minutes.
Yeah. But in this, it's just kind of, here's the story of this guy who
can embrace multitudes. Yeah.
Yeah, he says at some point, I feel like I'm the guy that's always in other people's lives just to lose, right?
Yeah, totally.
And it's a fascinating glimpse at this. It's a new kind of character. I'd not seen it before.
Comedians are almost like they're the most honest.
I think exactly the same thing, Norm. I think you're totally right.
And it's, Master of None and Louis, like this show I want to watch.
Look, I think that the kind of stripping bare you have to do to be a great comedian, to be able to hear a crowd and bring your material and bring your game and interact with that crowd, I think by and large seems to me the best acting training there could be.
Well, it's not just about being self-deprecating at all. No. That's just
being present.
We're not being afraid of being honest. Like the fear of honesty is the thing that I think a lot of people have a problem with.
Well, and for the most part, success is going to come if you're honest about who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That's what's going to be the universal truth, and that's what you have to bring. Before we close, I do want to do a plug for another medium, which is books. I just finished Washington, Ron Chernow's biography of Washington. Ron Chernow, of course, wrote the biography of Hamilton that inspired the musical. I got to tell you, Washington, if anything, is even better than Hamilton.
Wow.
Like, as a book, it's a bloody page turner. It's completely astounding. As I was telling Norm, I mean, the thing about it is that Hamilton's like the best man you've ever read about in your life. Like, this guy is absolutely just the pinnacle of humans. And Washington is effectively a deity. Like,
I mean, we would have elected him God Emperor if he had let us.
We would have.
And the fact that he didn't
let us. That's the thing. And look, I'm not gonna go on and on and on. I mean, the hagiography of Washington is a national pastime, and Chernow wrote this book to humanize him and really look through his letters. And there's been great scholarship over the last couple of hundred years, chronicling all of his letters and people's letters to him to really unpack a very complex and amazing man. The book is astounding when you realize what he achieved, what he did, handing over the army to the Continental Congress, reluctantly coming and taking the presidency twice, leaving the office of president, even though he was terrified of the Republicans. An amazing, page-turning, thrilling book. I highly recommend it.
I'm going to add it.
Would read again.
So I'm like 2/3 of the way through Dark Forest.
Oh, God, yeah.
The new one just came out. The third one just came out.
English translation.
The English translation.
Yeah.
Dying to read it.
I think we need to give it a little bit of time between maybe, but we were still going to talk about Dark Forest.
Yeah, Dark Forest, we need to do that.
Oh, we never talked about Star Trek, but that's probably okay at this point.
God, there's so many recommendations. TV shows, FX does it. It's at Atlanta's on FX.
Yep.
The other show I just started watching is You're the Worst, which is totally very different. It's still comedy. It's about terrible people. I love it.
like Curb Your Enthusiasm kind of terrible people? Or?
It's more, it feels like a show that should be on HBO.
Always Sunny?
Yeah, like Always Sunny, but in a sitcom. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, he's an orc. Kill him.
Orcs are near normal.
Oh, wait. It's not. Okay, I thought you were saying normal.
And I know that we need to talk about Star Trek, but the other movie I may still be in theaters, but please watch Kubo and the Two Strings.
Oh, Kubo and the Two Strings.
Have you seen it?
I have. We
I
should
haven't
talk
gone
about
yet.
it next
Okay,
week.
I'll go see it this week sometime.
It's wonderful. It's beautiful. It's really lovely.
Can I take my daughter? Is it 4-year-old?
That's a really good
little.
question.
I know people said there's a little violence at the beginning.
There's action scenes, so there's a lot of stop motion action scenes.
No, I don't think that there's anything that's scarring. I mean, it's certainly not as rough as Spirited Away for a young person.
So it's a question of whether she'll be
Spirited
engaged.
Away. She wasn't super engaged with.
Yeah.
She likes The Incredibles.
Yeah,
but it's bright colors and okay.
Fine.
Maybe I'll try it.
Yeah.
It's the worst that happens.
Lots of recommendations. So this past weekend, you were at Maker Faire. World Maker Faire.
Oh yeah, it's the last week now. Yeah, I was at World Maker Faire. It was amazing. It's always great.
May have been filmed. I don't know.
I don't.
Maybe.
Their live stream. They live streamed the panel on Saturday morning at 10:30 a.m. To the Twitch channel.
Okay,
so you could have watched it then.
Yes, maybe it's archived. Check out Will there with Glowforge, I believe.
Yeah, I'm Dan Shapiro, friend of Tested and Glowforge co-founder, had a personal situation, wasn't able to come, so he asked me to come sit on stage and ask dumb questions, which is a thing that I have done in the past and can do again.
This Friday we'll be at New York Comic Con.
Yes.
Adam will be there.
Yes.
So if you're in New York, please, we'll have follow Twitter for hints on where we'll be.
We just completed my costume for New York Comic Con.
You just completed your costume.
It is so good.
It's amazing. Yeah.
Will freaked out.
It is. Yes. It is You're gonna be blown away. It's really good.
Yeah,
I don't want to say anything else.
Happy with it.
And then also, we're doing another live show at the end of October here in San Francisco.
Really?
So
Yep.
tickets are on sale now. October 29th is a Saturday. It's at the Castro Theater. It's gonna be awesome.
We will see you there,
and hopefully we'll see you there. Tickets are on sale now. There'll be a link in the description. And I guess that's it.
That's it. Let's get started with our day.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye. I also want to thank the other sponsor of this week's podcast, and that's Casper Mattresses. Casper is an obsessively engineered mattress at a shockingly fair price, combining springy latex and supportive memory foams to create an award-winning sleep surface with just the right amount of sink and just the right bounce. Free shipping and returns to US and Canada, and you can try Casper for 100 nights risk-free in your home. If you don't love it, they'll pick it up and refund you everything. And of course, all the mattresses are made in America. Now, for listeners of Still Untitled, you can get $50 toward any mattress purchase by visiting casper.com/untitled and using the offer code Untitled. Again, that's www.casper.com/untitled and using the offer code Untitled. Terms and conditions may apply. We'll see you next week.